The Commonwealth Ombudsman has quit under intense pressure from the government. Allan Asher has been in the government's sights since it was revealed he scripted questions for a Green senator to ask him during a public hearing. Mr Asher admits to damaging the reputation of his office, but says he was just doing his job. The Greens, for their part, are admitting no fault and have dubbed it a political assassination. Political editor Chris Ullman reports.
Sometimes words have a way of betraying you.
It's Allan Asher, the Commonwealth Ombudsman. Prior to my last appearance before this committee.
Performance is the better word because Mr Asher scripted his last appearance with him as star and Greens Senator Sarah Hanson-Young, the very leading lady.
Thank you, Mr Asher, for coming along today.
Before Allan Asher's appearance at May's Senate estimates, his office wrote to Senator Hanson-Young seeking an urgent meeting. The two met at 2:30 on Tuesday the 17th of May. On May 23, the Ombudsman's office sent 2 pages of possible questions to the Senator. Things like, will you be able to continue your immigration ombudsman's work at the level that is required?
Do you think, based on the ability of your unit, that you will be able to carry out those duties as required?
Will this have an impact on the transparency of detention centre operations?
What kind of impact do you think that's going to have on the transparency and accountability of not just individual cases but the overall conditions within detention centres?
Why did you choose to announce an inquiry into the March 2011 incidents on Christmas Island after the government had already announced the Hawke Williams inquiry?
Why did you decide to launch that inquiry when the government has their own inquiry, the Hawke Williams inquiry?
When the exchange between Allan Asher and Senator Hanson-Young became public last week, the government's statements were pointed but muted.
I think integrity and openness and transparency are key values for the Office of the Ombudsman. It's up to the Ombudsman to explain how his conduct meets that criteria.
The Greens were bemused by the fuss.
We're very proud of being able to help the Ombudsman be part of the political discourse because he is the watchdog on politicians, in particular ministers.
Clearly, all the standards that Senator Brown and the Greens said should apply to coalition senators do not apply to the Australian Green senators.
But ministers were privately incandescent with rage, and for once the coalition shared the disquiet.
Do you think that he should be considering his position?
Well, I am deeply concerned by this.
Behind the scenes, some in the Ombudsman's own office questioned his conduct, and the government was pressuring him to resign. So when he reappeared at estimates this week, he didn't have to be asked any questions before he volunteered this.
In the May budget estimates, I provided some suggested questions to Senator Sarah Hanson-Young. This was an error of judgment, and it was a mistake, and I wish to firstly apologise to the committee for that.
The government was represented at the estimates hearing by its most forensic interrogator, Senator John Faulkner.
Do you consider your actions have impacted negatively the independence of the Ombudsman's office?
No, I don't believe it affects the independence in any way.
Do you think it is essential that your office is seen to be above the political process and above politics?
I think it certainly should be above politics.
This afternoon, after only 1 year in the job and under intense internal pressure, Allan Asher submitted his resignation to the Governor-General, saying, "I regret deeply that my office's reputation may have been damaged by my actions and apologise sincerely to my staff and to our clients." The Greens responded by turning up the rhetorical volume.
This is a political assassination of a very decent Australian working in the public interest. Allan Asher has made it very clear that he'll have more to say further down the line, and I'm glad of that. But he was put in an impossible position of not being adequately funded.
The former Ombudsman, Professor John McMillan, was saddened by the news.
He was a very talented, energetic person as Ombudsman, deep understanding of issues confronting the public in their relations with government, and it's a pity it ends in this way. My other big concern is the institutional one, that there will be questions swirling around the ability of the office to continue its fine tradition and its solid work in dealing with people's complaints and being an independent sort of watchdog and critic on problems in government administration.
After releasing his official statement, the outgoing Ombudsman took to Twitter to say, "Hugely comforted by the good wishes, but I was only doing my job, which is secure fair and just treatment for those the system ignores." The government thanked the Ombudsman for his brief service, but the Special Minister of State, Gary Gray, noted the office was a critical part of government accountability and it needs to maintain the highest standards of independence, impartiality and integrity. As yet, there's no public evidence that the affair has caused the Greens any serious soul-searching. Questions to them always appear to be questions for others.
It just goes to show that head-kicking, political assassination, duplicity of the sort that says we believe in an office but we don't want the officer to do his work is highly valued in the halls of power in our capital city.
The Greens clearly believe that a different set of political rules apply to them, but one of the things that this incident demonstrates is that the Greens are just another political party.